Welcome to the fourth in our series of CEU lectures. I'm John Shattuck, the president and rector of Central European University, and it's my great privilege throughout this week to host 5 lectures by George Soros, held here in Budapest at the Hungarian Academy of Sciences under the auspices of European University. In his lecture today, Mr. Soros will build on the concept of open society that he outlined yesterday, and he will explore the conflict between capitalism and open society and between market values and social values. He will continue his challenge to market fundamentalism while presenting his ideas for protecting the public good. All the CEU lectures this week are being video conferenced to universities on several continents, creating an unprecedented global real-time audience of students. Today's lecture will include students from Fudan University in Shanghai, whom you will meet in a few moments, in addition to the invited guests and CEU students who are here in Budapest. Our moderator today is Mark Danner, an award-winning American journalist and commentator on foreign affairs, politics, and human rights. As he has in previous lectures, Mr. Soros will speak for approximately 50 minutes, following which Mr. Danner will offer his own brief commentary. Mr. Soros will then take questions, starting with 3 questions from Shanghai, from the students at Fudan University, and then further questions from all of you here in Budapest. Now, to deliver his 4th lecture, I'm delighted once again to introduce George Soros, whose extraordinary performance over the last 3 days provides the best possible introduction to what he will tell us this afternoon.
Thank you. Today, I want to explore the conflict between capitalism and open society, market values, and social values. But I'm going to approach the subject indirectly by first introducing a phenomenon that has attracted my attention only recently, but has assumed such importance in my thinking that I am almost inclined to call it the 4th pillar of my conceptual framework. That phenomenon is the principal-agent problem. Agents are supposed to represent the interests of their principals, but in fact, they tend to put their own interests ahead of the interests of those whom they are supposed to represent. That's the agency problem. It's been extensively analyzed by economists, but they look at it exclusively in terms of contracts and incentives, and they largely disregard questions of ethics and values. Yet, if you leave the ethical consideration out, the problem becomes pretty well intractable. Values like honesty and integrity lose their grip on people's behavior, and people become increasingly motivated by economic incentives. By claiming to be value-free, market fundamentalism has actually undermined moral values. Markets are supposed to be guided by an invisible hand. That's what makes them so efficient. Participants need to exercise no moral judgments in reaching their buy and sell decisions because their actions are not supposed to have any visible effect on the market prices. In truth, the rules governing financial markets are decided by the visible hand of politicians. And in a representative democracy, politicians run into an agency problem. Thus, the agency problem poses grave difficulties both for representative democracy and the market economy, which can't be resolved without an appeal to moral principles. That's how the agency problem has gained such prominence in my thinking. First, I'll analyze the agency problem, and then I will deal with the conflict between capitalism and open society. Let me start at the beginning. I first encountered the agency problem in connection with the so-called resource curse. By resource curse, I mean that countries that are rich in natural resources are often cursed by corrupt or repressive governments, insurrections, civil wars, so that the people are even poorer and lead more miserable lives than in countries that are less well endowed by nature. Think of the Congo, Sudan, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. One of the non-governmental organizations I support, Global Witness, proposed a campaign based on the slogan, "Publish what you pay." The idea was to get oil companies and mining companies to disclose the payments they make to various governments. The amounts could then be added up, and the governments could be held responsible by the people for